Hello, it's Dr.J, and this is Mindset Resilience. And if you don't already know me, I talk a lot about arming people with evidence-informed, functional, and integrative approaches to improving your health and wellness. I post weekly. I love answering your questions. Thank you for sending them. I'd love to hear what you guys want to hear more about. So hit that subscribe button and give it a whack and let me know what you would like to hear more about in the comments. For today, what I want to talk about and what I want to say is that for my part and for me, I am not the hippie, Birkenstock-wearing, crystal reading, potion-brewing, tree-hugging witch doctor that a lot of people might think I am when they see the label naturopathic doctor. My high school friends, they still call me witch doctor, and that's a loving term. It's a term of endearment, I think. And honestly, I think it probably would be more offensive to me if those people who I've known my whole life and who probably know me better than anybody else in the world, if those people called me, I don't know, a snake oil salesman or something like that, that might be a bit more offensive. But when I'm also still the first person that they call when they need to ask advice about their health, when they text or when they email or when they drop me a phone call and they call me instead of my wife, who's a conventional medical doctor and a specialist, I often jokingly ask them, hey, are you sure you're okay with getting health information from a witch doctor? And they always say yes. Being a naturopathic doctor, though, does still come with a stereotype. And for some people, it's a really negative one. Snake oil salesman, not a real doctor, anti-vax, anti-drug, Birkenstock-wearing, tree-hugging, potion-brewing, crystal-reading witch doctor. And with apologies to my colleagues and friends who are naturopathic doctors or who practice similarly or under similar labels, and who might actually partake in some of those behaviors or methods of practice, I suppose, that is not what naturopathic medicine is anymore, folks. And I don't think that that's what it was from the beginning. In Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, where I practice and where I've practiced for my entire career, naturopathic doctors are licensed and regulated as primary care physicians. We're trained just like family doctors as general practitioners to recognize what is not normal and to refer on when appropriate. I think though what is really cool about that is that we get to spend more time with our patients to understand how to motivate and coach and keep those people accountable for first-line therapies that not only can help people feel better and get not sick, but more importantly for me, I get to work with people who are mostly healthy, but want to be as awesome as possible, want to get the most out of their brains and bodies. That is why I signed up to become a naturopathic doctor, and that's what I love about what I do. Now, I fully admit I grew up being the kid, and you can ask my mom about this anytime you want. I'm the kid who grew up making potions out of plants and spices on the sidewalk when I was a kid. Spices out of my mom's pantry, dandelions, and all sorts of plants and weeds that we'd find in the yard. In high school and university, one of my friends' moms gave me the nickname Doc, and it kind of stuck. More so because I think I was like the shrink of my group of friends, so listening to their problems, helping them sort through their challenges. Sometimes those were really heavy things. We lost a friend in a car accident in high school, but more often it was, about, people our friends were dating, or, why are so-and-so in an argument together? But I was really good at helping people and helping people see options for taking the next steps to feeling better, whether that was mentally and emotionally, whether that was later on more about food and diet and nutrition and health and lifestyle, all those kinds of things. Today, my clinical practice is really focused on working with people who want to get the most out of their brains and bodies. They're parents, they're business owners, they're managers, they're leaders, they're entrepreneurs, but they are leaders in one way or another, musicians and actors. People who are really busy and have a lot on their plate, and they want and deserve to be able to have it all and to be able to balance work and life and play and family and all of those things that they want. I'm all about problem solving solutions for those people, for those individual people. There are tons of different tools that we can use for any one diagnosis, symptom, or problem. And the best part about being trained as a naturopathic doctor is that we know what the evidence or lack thereof is for those tools and can recommend them if and when they are appropriate. But the art of medicine and wellness and healthcare is about working with and alongside my patient to figure out like what is the most achievable, realistic, and sustainable solution for them right now. What's the best next step right now in the context of your life as it is right now, in a way that makes you the most unique person, or just as unique as anybody else on the earth. And so I guess I get a kick out of people, particularly on social media. I'm sure we'll get some of those people commenting on this video, but I do get a kick out of people who see the words naturopathic doctor and immediately think that I'm trying to misrepresent myself as a medical doctor or conventional medical doctor, or assume that I am anti-vax or anti-drug, or that I only brew potions, or that I use crystals and energy healing, and that I own a pair of Birkenstocks, which I don't, by the way. But frankly, I'm not anti anything, but what I am is pro my patient, and pro my patient being able to actually execute a treatment plan to sustain it in order to see long-lasting results and to continually be moving in a positive direction. That's how I come across in my practice, and why and how I bring more of a coaching attitude to how I work with my patients. Because I could have the most perfect treatment plan that was guaranteed to work, but if you can't afford that plan, or you don't like it, or you can't maintain it, or you don't want to eat that food, or you don't want to take supplements or pills at all, whether they are medications or supplements, if you can't do those things or are unwilling to, or can't sustain those things, and they're not sustainable long term, then it's 100% useless as far as the treatment plan. The best treatment plan is the one that you will execute. There is no answer across the board in medicine that we should always do this for this particular diagnosis, because we should be treating people who have diseases, and people who have diseases and disorders and symptoms, but we should not be treating the diseases, disorders, and symptoms that people have. So, and I think that's an important one. We should be treating people who have diseases and disorders and symptoms, not treating diseases, disorders, and symptoms that people have. And there's a very important distinction between those two approaches. As an aside, the moment you hear someone who says that they are a healer, my recommendation is to run. Doctors don't heal. Doctors are guides. The word doctor comes from the Latin word docere, which means to teach, to educate, to coach, to motivate, to be a cheerleader, but also to be a sounding board and, an opportunity to help overcome challenges. You as the patient, you are the healer. You're the ones who are doing the healing. Doctors are facilitators and educators and guides. That's literally the root of the word, from the Latin docere. Now, naturopathic medicine is really diverse. It's our greatest strength as a profession, that we have a really broad toolbox to draw from in order to help people develop individualized solutions for their health and towards their goals. For my part, in my practice, I tend to rely a lot on diet and nutrition, lifestyle and habit coaching, supplements and nutraceuticals, and herbal medicines where evidence informed. And so where there is evidence-based data that I can apply to an individual person in the context of an individual person's life, that's where I live in terms of how I practice and how I think about a particular person's case. So even if I've got two people who are seemingly quite similar and that have the same diagnosis, I'm not going to necessarily the treatment plan is probably going to look very different for one person than the next. But I'm not the one who guides those decisions as far as what the treatment plan ends up being. My job is to provide the options and then work with that client or that patient to figure out what fits the best for me, and how can I apply this in a way that's most conducive to my success. To me, Naturopathic medicine is also, though, about upstream thinking. It's about problem solving and putting people's healthcare challenges into the context of their unique lives. So partnering with patients means being able to see their health challenges from their perspective, putting yourself in their shoes sometimes, but helping them see their health and wellness through different lenses, different perspectives, to consider what different opportunities are out there for them, where they can take action, and then helping them make decisions through positive, incremental change. Naturopathic medicine is not just about being holistic or even integrative or natural. You can use a supplement or an herb or even a diet and specific foods in the same way as a drug. If you are treating the disease and the diagnosis and the label, and you're not thinking about applying that to the patient, you're not treating a patient first, but instead treating the label, then that's not naturopathic medicine. That's not what the tenets of naturopathic medicine talk about, and that's not how medicine was designed in the first place. The systems of medicine that we all follow, when we're talking about the Hippocratic Oath and Hippocrates as a father of modern medicine, so to speak. If you're treating the symptom or disease or diagnosis or the label without respect for the life that is experiencing that dysfunction, then you're not practicing naturopathic medicine, in my opinion. While as an industry, naturopathic doctors probably reach for those more natural and integrative tools as first-line therapies, the reason that we often get associated with that is because our conventional medical system is not really designed to educate on those tools. And so naturopathic doctors will typically use more natural or integrative tools, so to speak, where they are appropriate, because it's also about the safest, most gentle, but also the most effective treatment for that individual person. And that usually is not necessarily going to be the most aggressive or assertive treatment that we always have. So that doesn't mean that we don't still respect that there's a time and a place for more aggressive therapies. Like there is a time and a place for antibiotics and for surgeries and pharmaceuticals. And in BC, in Canada, where I practice, I'm licensed and certified to prescribe therapies like this, and trained to refer out to specialists when it's most appropriate as well. So that's just how I feel about, naturopathic medicine, and, when people talk about as alternative healthcare practitioners or even complementary healthcare practitioners. I don't love those terms. The way that I practice is very much in an integrative and functional way. And it's about considering all the different options. It's not about potions and sandals and crystals and the more energetic medicines necessarily. Those can be part of the toolbox, and that isn't exactly how I practice. But what's important is how we're approaching the case and how we individualize that level of care to individual, unique people, and then deliver it in a way that has a coaching attitude attached to it. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Feel free to fire any questions that you have about naturopathic medicine in general, or how I approach working with my patients. I'm Dr. J, this is Mindset Resilience, and if you want to keep learning about precision biohacking, integrative and functional medicines from my perspective as a naturopathic doctor, a performance coach, and a productivity coach, then hit the subscribe button. But for now, just keep being awesome.